My name is Kebone Nthite.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory TV and the Herstory podcast. This is Gertrude Macha here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand. And I'm graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young lady coming to us all the way from South Africa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kebone Nthite. You can call me Kebone for short. I am in South Africa, beautiful South Africa, in Cape Town. I am 53 years old. I'm a mom. I'm a sister. I'm an author. I am a storyteller. I'm a speaker. I'm a mentor. All that in one person. So did I mention that I was 53 years old?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I have just written a book, and the book is titled I Am More Than Enough. So I struggled a lot with identity issues. I grew up in a very abusive home, in a very abusive space, and I was always told who to be, what to be, how to speak, what not to speak. And as such, when I grew up as a young lady, I had dreams, but my dreams, I couldn't share them with anybody. My main dream, I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be a speaker. No, I didn't know I wanted to be a speaker. I had a plan of, okay, now since I have this need to travel the world, how am I gonna do it? And I decided I wanted to be a pilot. And my dream and my goal was to be the first Black female pilot in South Africa. But because of apartheid, I couldn't reach that dream. So I ended up being in the corporate space. I knew from a young age that I didn't want to be in the corporate space because I wasn't designed that way. But I ended up in the corporate space, defying my father who wanted me to be a medical doctor. I was adamant I was going to do something different. So I went for IT, and I just went into it only for money, because I remember in our career guidance class, our teacher went through a whole lot of careers that you can take. And when it came to IT, he said, the money is good. So I decided, well, if I can have my dream, let me go for the money. And that put me straight into the corporate space. And that was very challenging for me because I was built differently. I'm a free spirit, I'm a speaker, I'm a thinker. And the corporate world was just very stiff for me. I encountered patriarchy, I encountered sexism, and it was tough. And when I entered the working space, women were not in the forefront yet. I know it's changing, but still, but that time it was worse. Women were not in the forefront. If you were outspoken, you were targeted, or you were told you're cheeky, or you're aggressive. And I went through that. I remember at my second job, my boss, it was a Christmas party, and my boss was telling, we brought our spouses, and my boss was telling my then husband that your wife is cheeky. And my husband was shocked and felt very embarrassed. When we got home, he wasn't impressed. He said, I don't like it when people say my wife is cheeky. And I had to explain to him that, in the corporate space, there's no man or woman, we equals, and I have to stand up for myself, and I have to speak out, and I have to put my point across for what I believe. But this went through. There are companies that fired me because of my outspokenness. But with that also came trying to fit in. Eventually you think maybe it's me, maybe I'm a troublemaker. Maybe I should change, and I tried to change myself. But the more I changed myself, the more I realized that I was losing myself, and eventually I just didn't recognize myself anymore. And I decided after a while to take a deep introspection and look at myself, and decide who I'm going to be and who I want to be. So that took me into a journey of trying to find out what inspires me, what lights up my fire, because I knew that the corporate space, just killed me. I was dying inside, and the pain of this death was becoming unbearable. So I decided to do this introspection. I went on a journey, on a spiritual journey, and my spiritual journey led me to church. Although I was already active in church, but my spiritual journey led me to the forefront. So I ended up coincidentally on the pulpit, preaching and ministering to people and praying for people, and that went on for a while. And when I looked at that, I realized that that gave me some sort of fulfillment. So I decided to look more into that. I knew also, even then, even with that I don't want to lead a church. I'm not made to lead a church. I don't have the heart to 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 shepherd people as the church says it. So I decided, my heart is outside the church. I wanna make a difference outside the church. And I decided to look at, like, what can I use? Looking at myself, when I put myself out there, what would I be doing? What kind of impact do I want to make? What kind of difference do I want to make? And I started to look at the preaching, and I asked myself, what is it about preaching that I like? And I realized that preaching, it's mainly speaking. So if I can take the speaking outside, then I can do that. Also at that time, remembered that I have another gift, which is writing. I didn't realize that writing was my gift. I thought if I can write, everybody can write. I didn't realize that it's special. It's something that I should cherish, because when I grew up, there were no writers around me. Nobody. I couldn't see anybody that had writing as a career, or as something that you can do for a living. So, but then I realized that I do have a gift, and it's writing. And I remember that I always wanted to write a book. And I went on a mission to put my story in a book, and I wrote a book. The book had been inside me for years. I always wanted to write a book, but I didn't know. And I tried before to write a book, but I got stuck. But this time, like when COVID started, I decided, with these lockdowns, let me sit and write the book. So I wrote the book. I finished the book. It was edited. We are now putting it on Amazon, and I think in the next month it will be ready, going to print and publishing. So that's my story. And now my passion is to help others to find their fire, those that are struggling like me, those that say, I am here, but I know I don't belong here. I'm in the corporate space, but I know I don't belong here. So my passion is to help those women, especially women, to say, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's never too late. At 53, I just finished writing my book. And I know the best is yet to come. When I turned when I turned 50, I thought, my life was over. I'm old. I should write myself off. There's nothing more to do. I missed my chance. But I know that this is the beginning of the best of my life yet to come. And I want to encourage women that even those women that think it's too late, it's never too late. It's never too late. You can still do it. You can still live your dream. And we can do it together. When I live my dream, you can live your dream with me. That's my
Wow,
thank
what a story. Your life and my life kind of parallel each other. I think I told you I studied in South Africa,
you.
in Cape Town at the University of Western Cape.
Yeah.
And when I graduated, I found myself in the same kind of space.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, South Africa during the apartheid years had a classification of races. And the rating system was that 01 was a white male, 02 white
Mm.
female, 03 colored male, 04 colored female, 05
Yeah.
Indian male, 06 Indian female, 07 black male, and 08 was the black female. So
Yeah.
black women were at the bottom of the totem pole.
Mm.
And, like you, I experienced such hardships. I was in an IT team,
Yes.
and we would be having tea and coffee at a meeting. And my boss would look to me and say, Gertrude, it's time for tea and coffee, kind of implying that I had to get up and go make tea for everyone.
Oh.
And I remember at the time, because of the classification of races, the only job a black woman could have was as a maid or
Yes.
somebody who looks after the children. So just the level of respect was just atrocious. And I
Yes.
used to turn it into a game when he did that. I would
Mm.
cross my legs and I'll say, yes, Jack, I take mine black with 2 sugars. And I would laugh. So I can so relate to, where you were in the corporate world in South Africa at that time.
Yes.
It
Yes.
wasn't easy. And
Wasn't it?
Black women have had to fight for their space to assert themselves in these roles in the
Yes.
corporate world in South Africa. So I'm really glad that you hung in there as long as you did, because you kind of paved the way for others. And
Yes.
now you are on a fantastic new journey in a completely
Yeah.
different direction.
Yes, definitely.
So if I could ask you a question, if you could go back to that younger woman
Mm.
struggling in that position, experiencing these imbalanced attitudes,
Mm.
what 3 pieces of advice would you give her?
I would say to that young woman, do not reduce yourself to make other people feel comfortable around you. That's the first advice. Don't sell yourself short, belittling yourself, so that people can feel okay around you. I know I did that a lot. Secondly, I would say know your worth and never be apologetic about your work and about who you are.
Yes.
And thirdly, I would say um, never back down. If you've got, if you feel that you've got a point and you need to stand by it. Never back down, no matter the consequences. You might end up getting fired. I got fired like twice or 3 times.
Oh, wow.
But never breaks down.
Yeah.
Rather be with your head held up high than compromise who you are.
Yeah. That
Yes.
is awesome. So now let's go into your future. You have now moved into a completely new world as
Yes.
a speaker, as an author.
Mm.
If you were to have a conversation with the older you, when you are 100 years old and you're sitting in your rocking chair with your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, based on how you're living your life, what would you say to this amazing woman who led you to that point?
I would say to myself, to my younger self, you are okay. No matter what happened to you, you are okay. Don't look back and don't be too hard on yourself. The journey is not in a straight line. There's twists and curves and turns, and sometimes you go back before you move forward. So don't be hard on yourself, and embrace every bit of yourself. Love
Mm,
yourself, embrace every bit of yourself, celebrate yourself, um, and go for what you want, and forget about everything else.
absolutely wonderful. It's been such a pleasure to meet with you, to hear your story, to hear the fire that's still in your heart as you go forwards in this new world.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to thank everybody who's tuned in with us today. We are profiling some of the most amazing women on this platform who have amazing stories and
Yeah.
amazing courage as well. It takes a lot of courage in the later part of your life to recreate yourself. But you
Yes.
are a true example that you can recreate yourself at any point. The choice is yours.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you so
So
much.
thank you, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow. This is Gertrude Mache with the Herstory TV and the Herstory podcast. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
everybody. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.